This here happened back in about 1961, going into 1962. The Columbia River, where the jetties there between the jetties are over 2 miles. That's how wide the bar is at the Columbia River. And it's 7 miles from the lightship into Cape Disappointment Light. So you have 7 miles of bar, 2 miles wide. Actually, the channel is probably a good mile wide, with the buoys about a mile apart coming down from the lightship to number 2, number 4, number 6, number 8, a mile apart. And it's a September nice day, something like it is right now, and there was probably very little wind and probably a 2 or 3 foot swell, and over 2,000 small boats fishing out across the bar scattered. And any time a ship would come in, they would radio us and say, could you give us an escort? Because I had all these small boats crisscrossing the channel and in the way. And so I'd send a 40-footer that could do about 18 to 20 miles an hour, and they would escort the ship. Well, the ship is probably doing 15, 16 miles an hour, so the 40-footer is not that much faster. So once it gets ahead of the ship, you're clearing the way, telling the boats, get out of the way, the ship's coming in, it can't turn very fast, it has to stay in the channel, get out of the way. And they're chasing boats and trying to get everybody out of the way. And all of a sudden I get a call over the radio saying there's boats calling, they want to talk to the commanding officer of the station. And I come back on the radio and I say, can I help you? This is the commanding officer. And they said, yes. He said, your patrol boat just went by my stern and cut off all my lines and came dangerously close to us. And I said, well, roger on that. And about that time, the 40-footer that had done that called and said, switch. And we had a little thing going that we'd say switch, and we'd go to another channel that nobody could hear, because you got to figure that over 2,000 boats, over 1,000 of them had radios and are listening to this over the radio. And so I said, switch. And so the young man came back in the fort and he says, we were escorting the ship, and I told the boat to get out of the way, clear the way, the ship is coming down. I got about half a mile ahead down the river, and here he is still fishing right in front of the ship, and the ship is blowing its whistle. And so he said, I went back, and he said, the only thing I could think of doing, he said, just cut right across their stern and cut their lines off and told them, get out of the way. I said, okay, fine. I says, switch back to your regular channel. So they switched back to the regular channel, and I says, did that boat, I says, that you cut the lines off of, I said, was he in the way of the channel? He said, I told him twice to get out of the way. I said, roger. I said, that's reckless and negligent operation of a small boat. It's capable of $10,000 fine or 1 year in prison or both. I said, go back and board the vessel. And he said, roger on that. And about that time, over the radio comes all these little comments. Uh-oh, somebody's in trouble. They're going to be held to pay tonight. And so finally, the boat called me back to switch. And I said, roger. He said, the ship has cleared the channel. And I went back and I boarded the boat. He said, and that man is practically in tears, going and crying that he didn't realize it was a mistake. He didn't realize what was going on. There were so many boats and so things. I said, roger on that. He said, what do you want me to do? I said, this is your case. I said, whatever you want to do. I said, go back. I said, and board him. I said, it's your case, whatever you want to do. He said, roger on that. And so we switched back to the regular channel, and people were calling in and saying, oh boy, I want to hear what happens there. How did you get a $10,000 fine, or you're boarding for reckless and negligent operation? And finally, it kind of dissipated down the way, but throughout the day, I was still getting comments. And so when I got back to the station, I asked the young man, I said, what did you decide to do? He said, the fellow was so upright and so tight and so apologetic. He says, I gave him a warning. I said, oh, very good. I said, so everybody else out there knew that he was in deep trouble, but they didn't know the results of it. And the people would come back, what happened to what happened? I said, we just took the matter and made it a legal matter. And so that kind of ended it. But that story went on there for days, and that next time the ship was coming down, people would get on the radio and say, you better get out of the way, it's a $10,000 fine or a year in prison if you're not out of the way of the ship. And So it kind of dissipated down over the time. But you can imagine over 2,000 boats in this channel and the ship trying to come on down, and the 40-footer is only 2 or 3 miles an hour faster than what the ship is coming down the line. So it made a good story, and it got everybody in line with what's going on out there.